This game was fucking amazing! I mean, very few times does a game actually exceed my expectations. This game was so hyped up, and I'm glad it actually fulfilled everything that I was expecting it to be. Amazing. Just fantastic open world, brilliant narration of the story. Oh man, everything about it just put a big, huge, fat, drooling smile on my face as I was playing it. Oh, hello. This game just gives you a real sense of freedom, just like Dark Souls 1 did. And after hearing so many things about how hard it can be from all the other reviewers and publications and all that, I was very excited to play it. But at the same time, I was very scared because it had been so long since I played Dark Souls 1. I I, I was scared. I mean, like, I felt I had to like relearn everything.
Oh, back to school, to prove to Dad that I'm not a fool. I got my lunch packed up, my boots tied tight. I hope I don't get in a fight. Oh!
But like all good games with simplistic controls that are easy to remember, it all just came back to me immediately in a flash. And to be honest, I apart from a few of the boss fights here and there, I actually thought it was the easiest one. I mean, when it first started, like my first like few hours, yeah, it was brutally hard. But then I got other things and stuff that just made it easier. And that also means, I mean, see, the thing is about easy games, or in comparison to others in the series, that I don't necessarily consider a bad thing, because it also makes it more accessible to newer players. It doesn't crush you and discourage you from keeping playing. It encourages you to keep playing. But it's still, I mean, it's still a generally hard game, just not nearly as hard as the other two. Okay? Don't let that fool you, noobs, alright? Because this game can still kick your ass, as it did with me. I died over 100 times my first playthrough, but that's nowhere near as much as how many times I died in Demon Souls and Dark Souls. But set aside the difficulty, let's talk about the game itself now. Dark Souls 2 has a much more emotional storyline that players can actually connect with. The first two had a lot of lore in their universe, but not actual cutscenes with dialogue. This game still doesn't have that much story compared to most modern RPGs, but in comparison with the series, it did a major improvement, and actually got me interested in what lied ahead of my journey. It was more than just overcoming challenges this time around. I actually cared for once in the Souls universe. There are tons of places to explore and freedom of choice. I mean, it really is the biggest Souls game yet. By the time I had beaten the main story, I was 77 hours in, and I still have a ton of stuff to collect and like 2 or 3 more bosses to beat. This also doesn't count the remaining 8 covenants that I can rank up in. This game is endless even after beating it, and the thing I loved most about this one, that the developers have finally decided to do, is that it lets you continue to explore and finish anything you missed instead of forcing you into New Game Plus, like what the first two did, which I thought was absolutely stupid. I'm so fucking happy that this game actually gives you that much freedom of choice. The world is your oyster. If you want to continue exploring, you can go exploring. if or when you're ready to start over, you can start New Game Plus by visiting the bonfire in Majula. Either way, this game has loads of content stretching into hundreds of hours of gameplay, making it an exceptionally great full-price game. It's a solid $60 experience that's worth every single penny of your hard-earned cash. It's pretty rare to say that about any game that comes out nowadays. Overall, it is more approachable and easier to understand this time around. Each stat of a weapon or piece of armor has its own description and even grading, and how much damage or resistance they have to certain ailments. So if you're having a hard time understanding something, just click that help button. The only problem I seem to have is the fact that there's no stat comparison between the items you have equipped and the items that you can buy from merchants. You'd think that From Software would remember to put something so simple in, but they didn't. I have to know the stats of all my equipped items by memory in order to not buy something that's inferior by accident. And that is just plain annoying. Now, on the upside, items and upgrades seem easier to obtain, and covenants are a little more descriptive in this one too, even if still not enough. But they're all vastly different from one another in terms of gameplay variety, making multiplayer encouraging for more and more players, myself included. And speaking of which, a couple of covenants don't even require online play to max out your rank with, making your platinum trophy or all achievements obtainable while offline. And I say this because there's a covenant where you have to kill 10 invaders to reach max rank, and scripted NPC invasions actually count towards that. I literally got the gold selfless giver trophy just by playing through the game without even trying, just defeating NPC dark spirits. I think there's also another covenant that doesn't require any online interaction as well. Like all you have to do is like clear a few areas in like a boss fight or something. Despawning enemies allow for clear paths to explore and getting to bosses, and so it also encourages New Game Plus for players as well, eventually. There's always more than one way to do something or how to get somewhere, like destructible walls that unlock shortcuts for bonfires, secret walls that lead to places that I never would have found without the help of other players leaving messages. Seriously, this game can feel like a co-op game, even if you're not playing co-op with other people. Even so much as leaving a suggestive sign can help other people. It's one of the many reasons why I love these games. It's like a community game when playing online. And another awesome aspect is that they advanced the whole messaging system, making it so that you can leave 2 pieces of advice in one message. And the game's main hub is a town, and the more you interact with people from around the world, the larger you'll grow the population of Majula. What you do is you find NPCs throughout the game and either exhaust all dialogue from them by pressing the talk button until they repeat themselves, or by achieving a certain request from them. Some won't move to Majula, but a lot of them will. You slowly begin to build your own settlement. That in itself made me feel like I was making a big difference in the game's characters and changing the entire flow of the experience for the better. The town statue shows you how many times people have died while you're online, and how many times you've died while offline, which is just so irresistible to look at over time. I had died 138 times before I had beaten it, and there'll be many more to come, and by the time I had finished this review, there's been over 100 million reported deaths worldwide. It's just one of those things you can't help but check out once in a while. That is just so amusing. And they fixed most of the problems that were in the first Dark Souls, like the unstable frame rate and cheap enemy placements, like those stupid fucking archers in Anor Londo. Nope, not in this game did they ever pull that. Looks like From Software listened to their fans and decided to make this one, I don't know, bullshit free? For the most part. Because in the process of fixing some of the issues the series formerly had, they created a few new ones as well. Across my 77 hours, I had occasionally bad experiences with locking onto enemies, and how it locks back off if there's an obstacle in the way, or if you're accordingly too far away from the enemy, or even worse, if a jumping enemy makes the camera move so fast as a possible cause for auto-locking off with some of the bosses I fought. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it can put you in real danger. therefore dying when it wasn't even your fault. Same for the unresponsive hit registers or the menus that don't open until 2 seconds after you press the start button on the controller. Ugh! These problems need to be addressed more often so they can patch it, because it can really draw you out of the experience you're supposed to be having if it happens to you. Some of the lesser enemy AI, like zombies, will seem to rotate on a mathematical plane while you're trying to get behind them, making it a cheap adjacent mechanic for the sake of increasing difficulty. They'll just always stay at your front no matter how much you circle around them. But this rarely happens with enemies, pretty much just the weaker ones. But the one thing that really pisses me off is that the game forces you to invade another player or get invaded in a couple certain areas while you are online. Seriously, what the fuck? What? What the fuck is this? Where the fuck am I going? Why am I being forced into PvP? I just want to explore these areas solo. The game throws you an online multiplayer in a couple areas without even asking your fucking permission. If you don't want to do this, you have to play offline while in these areas. Just when I considered putting this among my favorite games of all time, From Software just had to do one little thing, so tedious and bullshit to absolutely fuck up that chance. Fuck this. There are some more things that myself or other players may or may not have liked about the changes From has made, but they're all basically subjective, like bosses often feeling unbalanced in difficulty, either being too hard or too easy. The whole death penalty controversy and how your health permanently decreases without effigies. The graphics downgrade debate. Any changes made in the PvP, or even the fact that you can only level up in one place, Majula. The way I see it, no matter how great a game will turn out being, there'll always be some people out there who simply won't enjoy it. But at the end of the day, when all things have passed, I enjoyed almost every little bit of this game. Dark Souls 2 may not be perfect, and in a way, it may be disappointingly the easiest one in the series, apart from a few of those bosses. But with all things said and done, Dark Souls 2 is still the masterpiece it was all hyped up to be, and it is without a doubt the best game of 2014 so far. And so my final score for this game is a 9 out of 10. A fantastic game, amazing, a spectacle, just fantastic open world experience with a one-of-a-kind atmosphere. There's nothing else like it. Even if it is relatively similar to Dark Souls 1 in terms of gameplay. But that being said, I probably would have given it a 9.5 if it didn't have those technical issues that I mentioned beforehand. But it is still just a brilliant game. I mean, it's hard, but it's not like brutally hard. I mean, I guess it can be brutally hard for people who've never played the series before. But if you've played through both Demon's Souls and Dark Souls, you might not find this one nearly as hard, and it'll feel more like a modern video game instead of like some weird challenge trial with like a tiny fan base. No, this actually feels like a huge game where you're kind of free to do anything. It is just great. It's a must play. You have to get Dark Souls 2. Well, that was my review. Thanks for watching. Now get the fuck out of here, because I want to play some more Dark Souls 2. The Gamer Gods fail.